Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai, Bahasham, Barakah Kwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and in this video, I'll be profiling an article from endoftheamericandream.com titled, Why Are So Many Extremely Bizarre Mystery Creatures Starting to Appear All Over the Planet? And the reason this is the case is because we're coming into the times of Jacob's trouble, where things never before heard of or seen are going to take place. A time like none other, as it says in Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time, the time of Jacob's trouble, shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And these times of Jacob's trouble are going to get so bad that the archangel Michael is going to have to stand up and protect the elect of the nation of Israel, or you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who look like these heathen nations. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as was never since there was a nation, even to the same time. The times of Jacob's trouble is going to be worse than any other point in human history. Worse than the flood of Noah, worse than the transatlantic slave trade, World War I, World War II, etc., etc. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, speaking of the elect of the nation of Israel, everyone that shall be found written in the book of life. But the part I wanted to hearken on is where it said, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Like I said at the beginning of the video, things that were never heard of or seen before are going to take place during this time of Jacob's trouble. Judgments from Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and that's going to include creatures never seen before that are going to just go to town on these people, ripping and tearing them up and dispatching them in any way they can. And it also speaks in the scriptures of creatures newly created. This is Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha, chapter 11. I'm going to read verse 17 to 19. For thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form wanted no means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions, and getting attacked by a bear or a lion and mauled to death, eaten is bad enough. But as it says in verse 18, or unknown beasts full of rage, newly created. Why are so many extremely bizarre mystery creatures, unknown beasts, newly created, starting to appear all over the planet, a time like never before? Breathing out either a fiery vapor, and what does that sound like? Breathing fire, like a dragon, or filthy scents of scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparks out of their eyes, laser beams out of their eyes. Can you imagine seeing a creature that can breathe fire or shoot sparks out of its eyes? It sounds like something out of Stranger Things or that movie The Mist, which is funny because just recently CERN powered up that Hadron Collider to its powerful extent so far, and a lot of brothers have been speculating of what's to come of them powering up CERN. We know that these elites like to do left-handed magic and predictive programming. Think about those movies or TV shows like Stranger Things or The Purge or The Mist, where the government is messing with machines that open up portals to different dimensions and creatures come out. You never know. Again, like it said in Daniel chapter 12, this is going to be a time like no other. And as it says in Wisdom of Solomon 11 verse 18, unknown beasts full of rage, newly created, breathing fire out of their mouth or shooting sparks out of their eyes. And besides that, hey, these could just be creatures that the Most High has had hidden on the planet away from people. You've got your examples like the so-called Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, you name it. But as we're coming into these times of Jacob's trouble, the Most Highs are about to release these creatures full of rage to judge and punish you people horrifically, whereof not only the harm might dispatch them at once, but also the terrible sight utterly destroy them. Hey, these newly formed creatures full of rage being so horrific that just the sight of them will cause people to have heart attacks and being utterly distressed. This is Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, also in the Apocrypha, chapter 39. I'm going to read verses 28 to 31. There be spirits that are created for vengeance. Hey, they could be these newly created creatures full of rage, or it could be the Most High putting death angel spirits on these people out here to just be like Michael Myers or these other horror characters and just go on killing sprees, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them, the Most High, Yahweh, for judgment and punishment on you people for your wickedness. And chiefly you Edomites or so-called white people, and the wicked of our people, 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in America, are the wicked of our people globally, who are hard-headed and refuse to return under their power, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. And when it says teeth of wild beasts, it doesn't specifically state a lion or a bear. It could include those spirits, those newly created spirits of vengeance that breathe out fiery vapors or have sparks come out of their eyes, among a whole host of attributes the Most High has decided to put on them. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. And they shall rejoice at the commandment of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and whatever spirit is put on them, they're gonna accomplish that mission without a hitch. And like I just said, the main people out here that are going to be getting that judgment are you Edomites, but especially the wicked of our people. It's called Jacob's trouble for a reason. This is Jeremiah chapter 15. I'm going to read verses 1 to 3. Then said Yahweh unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. Hey, in the past you had prophets like Moses and Samuel. They preached to our people and tell them to do right, but they still couldn't do right. And it's no different with the prophets of the Most High today, the men of the Lord, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone on the highways and byways preaching this word or putting up video epistles. You've still got a lot of our people that just scoff at the words of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and cast it behind their back. But as it says, cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. And it shall come to pass if they say unto thee, hey, the wicked of our people in these times of judgment of Jacob's trouble, asking for questions and answers from the prophets, whither shall we go forth? Then shalt thou tell them, thus saith Yahweh, such as for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. Hey, if you're not of that elect number, and you've just been a scoffer this whole time, not taking heed to the words of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, or his prophets, the only thing that the prophets are going to have to tell you in that day, even if they have the spirit to talk to you in that day, because it says in Ezekiel that our tongues shall cleave to the roofs of our mouth. The only thing we're going to tell you is that judgment is coming your way. Death to death, sword to sword, getting killed in a race war, a civil war, getting tortured in a concentration camp, or getting drafted to go fight in World War III. And such as for the famine to the famine, starving to death. And we know that famines of biblical proportions, food shortages are coming globally. And such as for the captivity to the captivity, again, getting rounded up and getting sent to a concentration camp to be tortured to death. Verse 3, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith Yahweh, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, animals, teeth of wild beasts, attacking people, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. And it specified dogs and birds here, but it also says the beasts of the earth. And the beasts of the earth can be anything: lions, bears, or these newly formed unknown creatures full of rage, because are they not beasts on the earth? Hey, we're coming into some horrific times. And like we always tell you, sincere Akim and Akwat out there, you should be doing everything in your power right now to stay in the good graces of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, so you can hope to be of that elect number and have that protective hedge over you to be saved from these calamities which are quickly coming our way. But now let's get back into this article detailing some of these unknown creatures newly created that are starting to appear all over the planet. A time like no other, things never seen before. Have you ever noticed that there have been a lot of stories about unexplained creatures in the news lately? Normally, I don't pay much attention to stories like that, but today my curiosity got the better of me and I decided to do some digging. What I found was that stories about mystery creatures have been going viral on social media with surprising regularity. In some cases, the mystery creatures are able to be identified, but often they are not. In this article, I'm going to be asking a number of questions, because right now I don't have all the answers, and that is okay. Our world is full of great mysteries, and for many of those great mysteries, there are no easy answers. Hey, but when you have an understanding of the scriptures, you can get an answer to things. And besides the examples that are about to be described in this article, a couple of years ago, you had a fisherman up north that was completely swallowed by a fish and was in his belly for I think about a day before it spit him back out, and he couldn't identify what that fish was. And that sounds very similar to the story of Jonah. And then there was another example down in South America where another fisherman got taken up in kind of like a whirlpool and sucked up into an underground cave. And he said that he saw in that cave crabs that were the size of men. Hey, there are many great mysteries and hidden creatures on this planet that are waiting to get the go-ahead from Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai to make their appearance known and enact the judgments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, full of rage, spirits created for vengeance. Let me give you an example of what I am talking about. Last week, an extremely bizarre creature that looks like an orc from Lord of the Rings washed up on a shore on the Sinai Peninsula. The gruesome remains of a creature that looks like an orc from Lord of the Rings have been found washed up on the shores of Egypt. Andrea Jude, 39, found the mysterious, eyeless corpse bearing its sharp teeth on a beach at Gaber al-Baint in the Sinai Peninsula. And just like the movie monster from Alien, it had two sets of jaws, one within the other, for hunting its prey. I initially thought that the creature was quite small when I first saw the photo of it, but the woman that discovered it says that it had a head that was bigger than her fist. Miss Judd said she was surprised by how big the creature was, with the head being bigger than her fist. It was gruesome to look at and reminded me of the reality of death, she said. My initial impression was that it was a being who suffered a rather horrible death. I couldn't figure out what kind of creature it was. Some are suggesting that this creature could be some sort of an eel, and maybe that is true, but it definitely looks like something out of a science fiction movie for me. Here in the United States, officials at the Amarillo Zoo are asking for help in identifying a mystery creature that was recently photographed by one of their motion-activated cameras. A mysterious image of a strange, unidentified creature taken outside of Amarillo Zoo in Texas has left city officials and internet users baffled. The city of Amarillo has appealed for help after security cameras picked up the unsettling figure apparently walking around the perimeter fence of the zoo in the early hours of May 21st. The camera that took the photo is motion activated and sends an alert to zoo officials when it makes a capture. The model is believed to be a SpyPoint Link Micro S LTE. Many news outlets decided to describe this strange figure as a wolf man, and the story quickly went viral on social media. On the city of Amarillo's Twitter, The Amarillo Zoo captured a strange image outside the zoo in the dark and early morning hours of May 21st, around 1:25 a.m. Is it a person with a strange hat who likes to walk at night? A chupacabra? Do you have any ideas what this UAO, unidentified Amarillo object, could be? A unknown creature's newly created, full of rage, and it does look like a wolf man or a chupacabra. And the Most High is the one that puts the ideas in these people's heads to come up with stories of wolfmen or monsters or alien or anything like that. So if the Most High put those ideas in their head and the Most High is able to do anything, hey, there's a chance these creatures you see on movies and take for entertainment could be roaming around out in the woods somewhere, waiting to get the go-ahead to come out and enact the judgments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Obviously, the being in the photograph is able to walk, so it is entirely possible that it could be a person with a very strange hat. And it is important to note that the creature was photographed outside of the zoo fence, so that would rule out anyone or anything inside the zoo. Of course, there are many, many instances of security cameras documenting things that we simply cannot explain, and we may never be able to fully explain this incident either, and there's nothing wrong with that. Often, some of the strangest creatures that we encounter come right out of the ocean. Just recently, a professional fisherman in Australia caught a truly bizarre creature that is really frightening to look at. Professional fisherman Jason Moyse, who goes by the moniker Trapman Barmagui on social media, reeled in the mystery monster off the coast of his Barmagui hometown, about 240 miles south of Sydney. He shared a photo of the beast on social media, asking for help identifying it, as both he and the captain of the charter boat had no idea what the fish could be. It appears a mottled pink-gray, like something out of Stranger Things is upside down. Its eyes bulge out of the sides of its head, and its huge mouth, which takes up most of its face, contains rows of sharp teeth. The fish can be seen to still have the bait fish inside its mouth. One expert says he thinks it could be an anglerfish, and he might be right. Perhaps all of these sightings are just the results of simple misunderstandings, but we definitely seem to be living at a time when nature itself is going crazy, even as our society as a whole is increasingly starting to spiral out of control. Back in Daniel chapter 12, verse 1, "And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time." A time when even the Archangel Michael is going to have to stand up and defend the elect of the nation of Israel. The time of Jacob's trouble in Jeremiah 30, verse 7. "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Speaking of the elect, who are doing whatever they can to stay in the good graces of their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, so they can hope to be of that number and be saved from these coming calamities of Jacob's trouble, which again are quickly coming our way. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.